A UFO has been caught on camera invading the airspace of Langley U.S. Air Force Base. Let's dive in and see what this is all about. If you're new to the channel, y'all, and you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day. And please hit that like button, vetters. That really helps out the videos, so thank y'all so much for the support there. And, of course, comment down below. What do you think of this UFO video? Let's dive in. All right, I got it lined up here. So basically what they're saying is there's been a ton of UFOs swarming the Langley Air Force Base, and they're calling them drones, but they're not sure what they are. So technically they are UFOs, and this has become quite an issue, and one of them was caught on camera. So let's take a look at the whole report here from News Nation.
A recent drone activity over U.S. military airspace is fueling questions on what's being done to monitor such aircraft. U.S. Air Force several unmanned drones flew over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia back in December. It's been brought up at congressional hearings twice just this month alone. In one exchange, Senator...
We'll take a closer look at the actual video too, so just be prepared. Don't worry, that's not the only... Let me back it up now, since I just interrupted all that.
Up at congressional hearings twice just this month alone. In one exchange, Senator Mark Kelly questioned the Joint Chiefs chairman on why and how these drones got so close to sensitive military airspace. Take a listen.
One of the things we have to continue to work on is to continue to understand the technology that's moving forward and then move at the same pace as it was highlighted. We do have to move faster. And so it's an area that we collectively have to continue to work on. Not only here in defense here in the United States, but also at our forward locations where we have many of our service members deployed.
And this issue is the topic of the latest episode of one of our new podcasts. And right now, the link to Reality Check with Ross Coulthart is live. Just take out your phone, scan this QR code right here at the bottom of your screen, or visit News Nation's website or our YouTube page to get that link. But joining me now is Reality Check host and News Nation special correspondent Ross Coulthart. Ross, good to have you this morning. In your latest episode, you interview a witness to the mysterious drones that flew over Langley Air Force Base. Let's take a listen to what he had to say first.
Kind of confirmed to me that it was Langley when I would sometimes see a searchlight that would start flashing from the ground and kind of wave back and forth, never really focusing on any of them as they went past, but just kind of like just waving back and forth. The orbs, I would say, looked about car-sized. I mean, just from that distance. And they kept a very...
Again, he's calling them orbs, right? This is what he sees with the naked eye. And then when you film something, it does look different. It is true. What you see in person and then what you film, it just doesn't come across the same. So he's describing them as orbs. And, you know, I'll be honest, when I first saw the video, shout out, did a Skyfire News live stream last night. Go check that out. We talked about it, and I said it kind of looks like a plane at first, but it is true that the blinking lights are not uniform, whereas typically they're on a pattern with the plane, right? So that is true that that's not what's happening, but it is kind of blinking like a plane. So I don't know. I don't know enough about aviation or whatever, but again, he's describing them as orbs. I think that's important to keep in mind for context.
Car-sized. I mean, just from that distance.
And back it up.
Say the orbs, I would say, looked about car-sized. I mean, just from that distance. And they kept a very steady pace until they got over that location, in which they would start hovering over the base.
Yeah, so Ross, the government says they don't know the origin of these drones, but you see that video we played there to the right-hand side of the screen. What's your take on who could be sending drones over U.S. airspace?
And let's be real. So we got foreign adversaries sending drones with lights on them. Like, hey, look at us in the night sky. I mean, that makes zero sense, right? Why would this drone have all this lights on it if they're trying to get surveillance over Langley, right? Like, it's nuts. That sounds crazy to me. So I just don't think it's a drone.
Well, firstly, good morning, Marky. The word they're using is drones, but there's no evidence that these are what we would call commercial or military drones. The witness that I interviewed, Jonathan Butner, he was close enough to see for sure whether there were propeller blades or any kind of propulsion system that was keeping these drones hovering in the air. And as he says, this was car-sized. These were large, orange orb objects with no visible means of propulsion. And this isn't just happening at Langley Air Force Base. These incidents are happening all across key military installations and particularly nuclear facilities all across the United States. And I know the Air Force likes to use the euphemism of drones because that offers a palatable possible alternative that it might be a foreign adversary. But there has been no evidence presented of any foreign adversary being able to deploy drones in what at Langley Air Force Base is one of the most sensitive Air Force bases on the East Coast. This is where we've got F-22 Raptors. This is the forward defense for for Washington, D.C. This is a very, very important military base, and it's quite clear it's not possible to stop these objects from coming into that very, very sensitive military airspace.
Yeah, I know people.
I mean, Langley is a very sensitive U.S. military base near D.C. It's in Virginia. You know, this is like, you know, secret country. I've driven out there. I lived in Pennsylvania, and I've driven out through all of these mountains, and, you know, it's very secretive. Anything could be going on out there. This is where a big percentage of, you know, retired military, active military, you know, live out there, right? For its accessibility to DC as well. These are high-level people. This is a high-level base. This is concerning, and concerning that we can't do anything about it. Like, we can't prevent it or stop it, or we don't know what's going on, like what it is. We can't even confirm drone. Again, they're calling it drone, but they can't confirm that, right? So, yeah, it's concerning for sure. Just take UFOs even out of the equation. That's concerning. But add in the element of UFOs, right? Car-sized orange orbs. I mean, that's crazy.
Have floated the idea of this being, you know, sent from China or Russia especially after we saw that Chinese spy balloon just last year. This latest episode also talks about how the Mexican drug cartels are using drones over our southern border. Are drones changing the way American enemies are spying on us?
They are. Indeed, they are. I think the estimation from Northcom's commander has been that there's 1,000 drone incursions alone across the southern border of the United States, particularly from crime cartels in Mexico. And the alarming thing is that there are admissions that these drones are technologies far beyond what the United States is capable of producing itself. They're using highly advanced technology, obviously, to bring in illicit materials, perhaps weapons, perhaps drugs, and this is largely unregulated and unmonitored. It's a huge concern, and we interview Congressman Glenn Grothman in the story, who talks about this as a major issue of concern. What he also raises is concerns, frankly, that we need to ensure that there's greater reporting of anomalous objects that are seen in our skies so that these things are brought to the attention of authorities. Because
he's right. I'm going to put a link in the description. Go check out the rest if you want. Let's get to a closer look at this video.
this is a video shot by a local who was standing on the front lawn of his beach house near Langley Air Force Base across the water, filming on the evening of December 14th, right after sunset. He was watching what was meant to be that night's meteor shower. He says that around 7:15, he began to see red blinking lights from the direction of Virginia Beach coming in high and circling north of Langley Air Force Base, heading west and then passing directly over the base, heading east and back in the direction they came. It began as one or two coming every few minutes, and at its peak, He said, I would say there would be upwards of 5 over the base that would sometimes stop and hover directly over the base. This witness says they were always blinking from white to reddish orange. The blinking wasn't uniform, and these weren't planes. The lights were not on the ends of wings or rotors. They were round orbs of light. He's very clear on that point, this witness, which does tend to suggest some questioning to the drones explanation that's given in the Warzone periodical. It's a line that has been pushed by many in the defense media for some time, that the simplest explanation for what we're seeing here is drones. But are they? So we have a late-breaking development on this reality check story. The man who shot the videos, Jonathan Butner, has agreed to speak, audio only, to reality check. He was across the water from Langley Air Force Base on the evening in question in December, and he's now willing to give us his account of what he saw. And the fascinating thing is, he's pretty sure what he saw was indeed anomalous, not some kind of commercial drone, helicopter, or other aircraft. Good evening, Jonathan Butner.
Hello, Ross.
So, Jonathan, tell me what you saw in December last year. I understand we won't say exactly where, but you were in a premises, in a residence that was across the water from Langley Air Force Base. Tell me where you were roughly and what you started seeing.
Yes, sir. So, yes, I was at a residence on the southern side of the James River at about 7 p.m. on Thursday, December 14th. The sun was just going down for the evening, and it was supposed to be a meteor shower that night. So I was there, just planning on watching that. Directly across from me is Fort Eustis, then Newport News, and then Langley is off in the distance as well. But I began to see, right after the sun went down, I began to see these reddish orange blinking lights that started coming from the southeast of me, crossing the...
Hang on real quick. The more I see it, it does kind of, I'm just what I notice. Okay. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying the blinking does look uniform. The more I see it, the other video I was watching it was blinking on a pattern. So maybe I'm wrong.
James River. They began 1, 2, 3 at a time, kind of almost in a conveyor belt fashion. They would go north of Langley Air Force Base. It was what it appeared to me, which was about, I would say, 11 or 12 miles away, and then head towards the west, past it. But then they would kind of slowly turn and then go straight back over where I perceived where the base would be. It kind of confirmed to me that it was Langley when I would sometimes see a searchlight that would start flashing from the ground and kind of wave back and forth, never really focusing on any of them as they went past, but just kind of like just waving back and forth. The orbs, I would say, looked about car-sized. Just from that distance. And they kept a very steady pace until they got over that location, in which they would start hovering over the base.
Now, can I ask you this, sir? The official explanation at the moment is not really forthcoming, but the word drone has been used, i.e. to suggest that perhaps this is some kind of commercial or perhaps military drone of some kind. Is what you saw that night consistent with what you would think of as a drone?
Well, I think a lot of people seem to think that a drone is like kind of what we're used to seeing, something that you could put in a backpack and control with a remote control. These were large and they seem orb shaped. You could say the word drone. I have no ways of knowing if they were manned or not. But these were not the drones with 4 blades on the edges. These were
Can I ask you this? Do you think you would have
Yeah.
heard? Obviously, you're over water, which does tend to amplify noise. If there were the helicopter propellers, if this was like a conventional drone with helicopter propellers, would you have heard it, do you think?
It was quite a distance. I would say it's probably over 10 miles, the ones that were going
Oh,
over the base.
okay. There's no way he's hearing that.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of helicopters, and I've seen a lot of planes from that vantage point, and I know what wings look like with the green light on one end and one red on the other, or if it was a Black Hawk with a tail rotor and also lights around there. These orbs were the lights, and they would go directly from that reddish orange right to white. It was not like a blinking on and off, and the blinking was not uniform either. To me, it looked like sometimes the orbs would be blinking at different beats as they went over the base, and it would sometimes change as I watched them. It's appeared to me. So it was very unusual and not like anything I've ever seen on a regular aircraft.
So that
Let's also be real. You're not at 10 miles away. You're not seeing a tiny drone that like the backpack drones up in the air. You're not seeing that 10 miles away. Unless it's just lit up with lights or something. I mean, completely 10 miles. That's a long, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'll look. I'll be honest. It does look like it's blinking uniformly. From this footage that I'm seeing that they keep looping, it is, in my opinion, blinking uniformly. Let's hear a little bit more from Jonathan, and then I'll show you guys why I think that.
It's interesting. So this isn't the kind of, because the thing that made me think that they were probably drones was that you do see these intermittent flashing lights, but they're not lights that are consistent with the kind of lights you'd see that are frequently following an exact pattern, a frequency on a drone or on a helicopter or on an aircraft.
Correct. Yes, these did not, in my opinion, did not appear to be like FAA regulated blinking lights on planes and with that are on the ends of wings. They seem to move uniformly. In one of my videos, you can see where 2 of the orbs kind of pull apart in distance, and one's beating in almost like triplet, and one's beating in more of a heartbeat path. Heartbeat.
Anyway, I don't know. That's where I'm at with that. Hang on. Let me show you guys why I think that. 2 seconds here. All right. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Ah! No, not that one. This one. Okay. Okay. Hang on, y'all. Yes. Okay. All right, let me see if I can find the right clip. Okay, yeah, let's just go here. I'm going to mute it. And let's see. This is what I want. There we go. Okay. See that? Dot 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 dot. Like it's on a beat. It's on a rhythm, in my opinion. Let me try that again. Maybe I'm wrong. Da da da. Oh wait. Let's try that again. Da 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 da. Yeah, it's on a rhythm. I don't know. That's to me. Maybe I'm wrong. And again, this is just a little bit of footage, right? It's not all of it. Again, I'll put links in the description. Go check out the rest. There's more to the interview. I don't want to show the whole thing. Go check it out on your own. I mean, regardless of the videos and whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, just the fact that we have, unidentified anomalous phenomena invading our airspace over U.S. military bases is not good. It's not good. And I know they're calling them drones because they don't know what else to call them. But the reality is they don't know what it is. And there's a lot more to it. And yeah, we'll stay on it, see what happens. But that video is interesting. You know what I mean? He's describing a car-sized orange orb flying over U.S. military air bases, and he's seen them on more than one occasion. Right? You've got his eyewitness testimony and the videos, and he's willing to talk about it. I wish he would have gone on camera, but I get it, right? To some extent. But that is interesting. I got to admit that's definitely an interesting video. So what do y'all think? Y'all tell me in the comments. You see, what do you think about it? I think more than anything, his eyewitness testimony is what's most compelling, because videos can just be so, I hate to say, like, you think they're going to give you the answers, but it's kind of like a false positive. It's a false evidence, false answers. It's like a false vision of the truth. It can be, because it can be very subjective sometimes. You say, well, what do you mean subjective? It's what's in the video or picture is what's there. That's not true. We all see things so differently. So, right, people, just look at the comments of this video. You're going to see different people saying different things about what the video looks like, if it's uniform or not uniform, blinking, But regardless, that doesn't mean a UFO wouldn't have uniformed blinking lights, right? That doesn't necessarily mean it's not ET because of that as well. But planes do have that pattern, that repetitive pattern of blinking lights. Again, but if you match that with his eyewitness testimony saying, I've seen planes, that's not a plane, but 10 miles away, that is what you're seeing. That's what it looks like. I've zoomed in on planes trying to film them like that, and that is what they look like. But again, he's then saying they hovered over the base. So planes aren't doing that. So again, that's what's interesting. That's why the video is kind of like, you can't trust your eyes with the video almost. It's more its testimony more than anything. And again, you have our own government admitting that this is happening, that these swarms of different incursions are happening over military bases. So regardless of this gentleman and his video, and there's something happening, right? And that should concern us all, to be honest with you, because how can they not put a stop to it, right? It's not good. And it's kind of interesting that they would even admit it, if I'm being honest, that they would even come out and admit that that's happening and talk about it openly. Doesn't send a strong message, and I find that unusual. I don't know, maybe there's a reason for that. But anyway, curious to read all the comments. So look, real quick, news broke today about David Grush and Arrow and some communication between them about, David Grush testifying before Arrow, and John Greenwald Jr. from the Black Vault put that out. Everyone's talking about it online. Well, guess what? As you're watching this video, I am interviewing John Greenwald Jr., and that video will go up tomorrow, Friday, April 19th. So make sure to come back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time and see my interview with John Greenwald Jr., where we will be going over in detail David Grush and Arrow's latest communication debacle, if you will. I'm also going to get John's thoughts on Kona Blue and some other different topics in the UFO community. So look forward for that. So anyway, thank y'all again so much for watching. We'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Again, don't forget my interview with John Greenwald Jr. from the Black Vault tomorrow, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, y'all. Remember, every day's a gift. Peace.